It's been clear since the beginning of standardized testing that the tests do not predict. And the best American, the most prestigious American universities have either dismissed it or kept it in pro forma place. But actually, as Harvard and Princeton told me, it's not a significant determinant. They just don't want to rock the boat, the glue that holds this pyramid together. They don't predict. And why is 10% of the school year and school budget devoted to exerting stress on so many millions of people and through the children, their families? And why do so many innocently ignorant school teachers say this will determine your future, when it only does if you convince yourself that it determines your future? It has no predictive power at all, other than to signal this is someone who will memorize whatever you ask him to memorize. This is a useful skill, an anti-skill.
In the book, the Leipzig Connection, Basics in Education, toward the end of the book, after talking about Pestalozzi, it talks about Pestalozzi's mentor, who was Johann Caspar Lavater, who was working and experimenting on Swiss lower privileged children in a universal schooling system. He was also a Grand Master of the Illuminati. So since Pestalozzi and Lavater and all these other key figures that were in the Prussian education system were also members of the Prussian Illuminati, it just seemed natural to see the takeover and undermining of nationhood of our society, the taking away of our identity through the school system, is also making we as a nation incoherent. And it just seems like there is a very militaristic strategy that's been in place a long time.
And notice what the specific mechanism is. It's an artificial extension of childhood, theoretically to the grave, but certainly beyond the point where learning anything is easy. As long as you indulge childish fears and childish appetites long enough, you've effectively rendered somebody harmless. You can see it in its crudest form in the military, in the training of recruits, or in fraternities, in the hazing of freshmen. But actually, yesterday I hope we talked about Richard Branson and the turning point of his life at age 4, when his mother drops him miles from home. Throughout most of human history, anywhere on the planet, childhood is over by the age of 7, and even in the most permissive cultures, it's over by the age of 11 or 12. People are, even in our own country, at the beginning of the 20th century, a substantial number of young women at the age of 13 were married or becoming married. I'm thinking in particular of I'm thinking of a 18-volume history of the world that used to be, for 20 years, the premium of Book of the Month Club, written by a husband and wife team. And still, a rather respectable history. Inside historians say it's not bad history. It's very, very...
Did they also do a history of philosophy set?
Yes.
I have it. Gene O'Denning just sent it to me last week. I just scanned it in. It's on my desk if you want to go get it. There's like...
All we need is the last name, and it'll trigger. And in any case, the fellow who had been trained, I think, at U Chicago as a historian, marries his wife, who becomes his co-writer, and
Will Durant
and Ariel. Ariel was either 13 or 15. there's a dispute on the internet about how she wasn't older than 15, and I suspect she was 13 when they married. Was Will some form of sexual oppressor? No. Instead of going to junior high school, Ariel studied professional historiography and its protocols, and she was a full partner in the writing, and Will died, predeceased her 10 years, and she continued to lecture, having begun her productive life when people began their productive lives. To extend this to the late teens or beyond the late teens is to fly in the face of the first admiral in American history being in charge of a warship. Farragut at the age of 12. Or George Washington being the surveyor of Culpeper County, Virginia in his mid-teens.
Very entrepreneurial attitudes that they
Or
got.
Jefferson running a plantation, his parents both dead, 250 employees. He's 12 or 13. But these examples go on and on and on. Why have we marginalized the young who, whatever they lack in experience, more than make up for in resilience, in acuity? They bring new eyes to old situations, which is the secret of scientific invention. So it's done because they're the most dangerous. They're the least overlaid with these conditioning. And of course, that must have been understood way, way back in history. Alexander the Great, after all.